So this is a single topic unit. That means in third unit we seen two chapters. That means flexure and shear. But unit 4 is the very simple and smallest unit. Okay, please be remember this unit 4 is the simple and smallest unit. Okay, in our precious concrete syllabus. Okay, so and also they may ask theory as well as problem. Mostly 90% they will ask problem only. Okay, so in this topic we will discuss about transfer of pre-stress in pretension member. That means, so even though actually in the syllabus they mention only pre-tensioned, actually this is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. Actually we will discuss in both the pre-tension as well as post-tension members. Okay, actually the title is wrong, wrongly given in the syllabus. Okay, so the transmission of pre-stressing force by bond, transmission length, flexural bond stress, IS code provisions, anchorage zone stresses in post-tension member. Here you can see they mentioned post-tension members. Okay, stress distribution in end block, analysis of Guyan, Magnell, Zinkwitz and Rovers method, and anchorage zone reinforcement, IS code provision. Okay, see mostly in examination they will ask problems from this chapter, anchorage zone reinforcement. Okay, so because problem is available in this anchorage zone reinforcement, and this anchorage zone reinforcement calculation and design, we have to use this methods. That means Goyan's method, Magnell method, Zinkwitz method, and Rovers method, and IS code method. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 methods are there. Okay, there are 4 methods is available to design the anchorage zone reinforcement. So first we will see the fundamentals. Okay, what is the need of this anchorage zone reinforcement and what is meant by transmission length. So after that we will see the problem, how to calculate, what is the provisions given in Indian standard. Okay, transmission of pre-stressing force. Okay, so in first we will see pre-tension members. So we know that pre-tension members, initially the tendons are stretched. Initially before concrete the tendons are stretched, and after stretching, after giving enough pre-stressing force, the concrete is poured into the mold. So the bond between the tendons and the concrete will transfer the pre-stress. Okay, the bond between the tendons and concrete will transfer the pre-stress. Okay, so for best example, railway sleepers. So let us see one by one. So the mechanism of transfer of pre-stress is different in the pre-tension as well as post-tension members. Okay, so there is a different concept. The transfer of or transmission of pre-stress is explained for the two types of members separately. Okay, so in case of for a pre-tension member, usually there is no anchorage devices at the ends. Okay, so and when we use anchorage devices, so anchorage devices mainly used in the post-tension members. Okay, the following photo shows that there is no anchorage devices at the ends of the pre-tensioned railway sleepers. So I think this photo you already seen. So you can see here, these are the pre-stressed, pre-tensioned concrete railway sleepers. So how they casted? So initially the tendons are stretched. You can see here around 6 tendons, 6 wires are there in each sleepers. Initially it is stretched, okay, into the required force, pre-stressing force. After that concrete is poured. After concrete is cured and attains sufficient strength, the rods are cutted. So this transfer of pre-stress the transfer of pre-stress occurs mainly due to the bond between the tendons under the concrete. Okay, so this is the mechanism. So for a pre-tension members, without any anchorage at the ends, the pre-stress is transferred by the bond. So this point is very important. Bond between the concrete and the tendons. Okay. There are three mechanisms in the bond. One is adhesion between concrete and the steel. Adhesion means what? Sticky. Okay, they are properly sticking. Adhesion. Next is shear resistance. Okay. Next, friction. So under these three categories, three mechanism in the bond is occurs in the pre-tension members. Next, bond is in by transmission length. So this is very important question in this unit. Transmission length. Okay. So initially, if you give the pre-stressing force, the transfer of pre-stress occurs up to some length only from the support. Okay. So that length is called transmission length. The pre-stress is transferred over a certain length from each end of the member, which is called the transmission length. Okay. The pre-stress is transferred over a certain length from each end of a member, which is called the transmission length or transfer length. Okay. The stress in the tendons is zero at the ends of the member. Okay. The stress. So mainly from the support only we are giving the pre-stress. So the stress at the extreme edge is zero. In the tendons is zero because we are cutted. Okay, it increases over the transmission length. So stress is increases over the transmission length to the effective pre-stress under service stores and remains practically constant beyond it. Okay, so in beyond that, that means after the support, near the support, it keep on increasing. After that, after some length, it is remains constant. Okay. The following figure shows the variation of pre-stress in the tendons. So from the figure, we can easily understand. Here you can see this is the support. This is the support end. You can see the tendons are stressed in this direction. So the friction and between the steel and concrete is transferred to the pre-stress to the concrete. So now here you can see in this graph, initially at support the stress is zero. So after that it is gradually increasing. You can see it is gradually increasing up to a point. You can see this is the point. So after that, this is the point. After that, it is a constant level. It is a constant. Okay. So this point is very critical. Okay. This point is very critical. See, most of you seen some of the bridges, the pre-stress concrete members are I section at middle. But in case of support, it is a pure rectangular section. Okay. So in support, both the support, it is rectangular section, but at middle, it is a I section. Okay. So why? Because for transferring of pre-stress, there will be a huge stress is developed. So that concrete will resist that stress, so that the cross section will be required more. Okay, so if you consider I section, the area of I section is less. Okay, but in case of rectangular section, the area of cross section is more. Okay, so if area is more, stress is reduced. Okay, stress became reduced. So that is the simple concept. So this portion is the highly vulnerable portion and critical portion. Okay. So there are several factors that influence the transmission length. Okay. First one is type of tendon. Second, size of tendon. And size means in terms of diameters. Okay. Next, stress in tendon. Surface deformation of the tendon. That means surface deformation means plain, indented, twisted, or deformed. That means shape. Okay, size deformation is nothing but the shape of the tendon. Next, strength of concrete at transfer. Strength. Okay, that means grade of the concrete. Next, pace of cutting of tendons. Okay. Next, presence of confining reinforcement. Confining reinforcement is nothing but the circular reinforcement. Next, effect of creep. Like ninth, compaction of concrete, and 10th, amount of concrete cover. Okay. So these points, what is in the transmission length and what are the factors affecting the transmission length. So these points are very, very, very important points. So if anything, theory questions they are planning to take from the fourth unit means definitely they will ask this question. Okay. So try to remember this question. So next, the following values may be used provided the concrete is well compacted and detailing as per the relevant provision of this standard. And its strength of transfer is not less than 35 Newton per mm square, and the tendon is released gradually. So in IS 1343 code, they given the transmission length approximately, length of the member. It is depends upon the diameter of the nominal diameter of the wire. For plain and indented wire, it is 100 times the diameter, and for crimped wire, it is 65 inch diameter, and strands it is 30 times of diameter. Okay, so the transmission length will vary, depends upon the shape of the tendons as well as the diameter. Okay, diameter of the tendons. Okay. Next, coming to post-tension members. So far we seen pre-tension members. See, post-tension member is very, very important. So in examination, the problems they will ask only in post-tension members. Okay. So unlike in a pre-tension members without anchorages, the stress in the tendons of your post-tension members attains the pre-stress at the anchorage block. There is no requirement of transmission length or development length. The end zone or end block, see the transmission length is called end zone. Okay, in this post tension members, the end zone or end block of the post tension members is a flat region which is subjected to high stress. Okay, which is subjected to high stress. So why it is subject to high stress? Because we are providing anchorage and we are giving pre-stressing force at the end only. So that end part will subjected to high stress. From the bearing plate, okay, from the bearing plate next to the anchorage block, okay, it needs special design of transverse reinforcement. The design consideration are bursting force and bearing stress. Okay, so this is the design. So while designing the anchorage zone reinforcement, we have to consider two things. One is bursting force. Bursting means what means? I think I already shown to you one video. Okay, at the end of the slab, some immediately one improper reinforcement is we are providing means suddenly the concrete block will burst. Okay, that is called bursting force. Okay, so in the design consideration are bursting force and bearing stress. So while designing, we have to consider these two types that we will see in the problems. Okay. So next, the stress field in the end zone of a post-tension members is complicated. The compressive stress trajectories are not parallel at the ends. Okay, so we know that we are giving a precessing force in that through anchorage machines. The concrete is subjected to pure compression. Okay, and this compressive stress is not equal in all the parts of the cross section of the member. Okay, the trajectories diverge from the anchorage block till they become parallel. Based on Saint-Venant's principle, you know about Saint-Venant's principle, you already studied in strength of material. It is assumed that the trajectories become parallel after a length equal to the larger transfer dimension of the end zone. Okay, students, suppose if we consider a bar, okay, if you are applying a compressive force or tensile force at the end, so what happened? So the stress concentration is more where near the application of the load. The stress concentration is more near the application of load. Okay, so beyond some distance, the stress concentration is very less because the distance between the application of load and the that point is huge. So same thing here also. That principle is called Saint-Venant's principle. Here also, where we are applying the precessing force only at the end, not at the middle. So at the end, there will be a huge compressive stress. But at the middle or near the middle, it is not like that. Okay. So it is somewhat like a parallel. That means equal compressive stress at the center or nearby the center of the beam. But at the support, it is not a equal compressive stress. It may vary. At edge, it is vary, and at middle, it is vary in that cross section. Okay. So the following figure shows the external force under the trajectories of tensile and compressive stress in the end zone. You can see in this figure. So in this figure, you can see this is the bearing plate. Okay, anchorage plate or bearing plate. So through this plate only, we are applying the pre-stressing force. So this green color indicates the stress. Okay, due to this applying force through the cables, the due to that plate, the pre-stress is transferred. Due to the transfer, the stress is produced like this. You can see there are two types of stress is produced. One is green color and another one is the red color. Okay. So this is the longitudinal stress. That means green color is the longitudinal stress, and that means compressive stress. Longitudinal stress is called compressive stress, and this perpendicular to that compressive stress is called tensile stress. Okay, so up to some distance. So here you can see the depth of the plate. Students, this is very, very important. The depth of the plate is called YP naught. This we will we have to use in the problem. So please be remember the depth of the plate is called YP naught. Okay, and the distance between the support to the where the stresses is parallel. You can see here at this point the stresses are parallel. You can see the green color. So green color is uniform, but here within this green color is non-uniform. Okay, so near the plate it is more, but beyond some this distance, that means the Y0 distance, the stresses are parallel. Okay, the compressive stresses are parallel. So Y0 is the larger transfer dimension of the end zone. That means depth of the beam. Okay. So approximately the transmission length, that means Y naught length, is equal to the depth of the beam. So from this diagram, you have to remember two things. One is what is Yp naught and what is Y naught. Okay. So Y naught is the depth of the beam, overall depth of the beam, first one. Yp naught is the depth of the plate, anchorage plate. Okay. So the larger transfer dimension of the end zone is represented as Y naught. That means simply we can tell depth of the beam. The corresponding dimension of the bearing plate is represented as Yp naught. Okay, that means bearing plate or anchorage plate, both are same. That is called Yp naught. For analysis, the end zone is divided into a local zone and a general zone as shown in the sketch. Now we will see the sketch. You can see here local zone. Local zone is nothing but beside the bearing plate is called local zone. Okay. So in this local zone, stresses is maximum. Okay. So where the stresses are, that means the compressive stresses are parallel. That means beyond this Y naught, beyond this depth of the beam, beyond the length of the depth of the beam is called a general zone. Okay. So local zone is nothing but from the bearing plate to the Y naught distance, that means depth of the beam in horizontal manner. General zone is nothing but beyond the depth of the beam Y naught. Okay. So the local zone is the region behind the bearing plate and is subjected to high bearing stresses. Is subjected to high bearing stresses and internal stresses. Okay, so this point is very much important. So local zones are subject to high bearing stresses and internal stresses. The behavior of the local zone is influenced by the anchorage devices. Okay, and the additional confining spiral reinforcement. Spiral reinforcement, you know, is a circular one. Okay, the general zone is the end zone region which is subjected to spalling of concrete. The zone is strengthened by the end zone reinforcement. Okay, so general zone is reinforced by end zone reinforcement, and local zone is reinforced by a confining reinforcement or anchorage reinforcement. Okay, anchorage zone reinforcement. So up to local zone, anchorage zone reinforcement, and the general zone, it is end zone reinforcement. Okay, student. So these are the main important concept. So the transfer of tensile stresses is known as splitting tensile stress. The resultant of the tensile stress in a transverse direction is known as bursting force. Simply we can call FBST. F means force. BST means bursting force. Okay. So that we already seen in the diagram. There will be a red line is there now, that is called tensile stresses. Okay. So that tensile stresses force, that tensile force is called bursting force. So indirectly we are telling it is called bursting force. Okay. So if we not provided proper bursting force reinforcement, what happened? Due to the enormous force of the pre-stressing, the end support will burst. That means immediate crack will happen. Okay. So compared to pre-tension members, the transverse tensile stress in the post-tension members are much higher. So students, please be note. So compared to pre-tension members, so in pre-tension members, the tensile stresses are less. But in case of post-tension member, the tensile stresses are more. Okay. So why? Because we are applying pre-stressing force after casting the concrete. After concrete attains sufficient compressive strength. But in case of pre-tension member, it is not like that. Initially, we applied the pre-stressing force for the tendon. After that, we are pouring the concrete. Okay. So tensile stresses are less in pre-tensioned beams and the tensile stresses are more in case of post-tension members. Okay, students. So from this figure, you can easily see what is falling force and what is bursting force. Okay, so bursting force, that means bursting tension occurs immediately beside, that means backside of the plate. You can see the dark black color. This thing is nothing but the plate, anchorage plate. So this red color portion indicates the bursting force portion. Okay, so in this portion, we have to taken care more carefully. We have to design, otherwise it will damage the support. Next, above and below the red color, is called spalling force. Okay, students. So the bursting tensile force FBST existing in an individual square end block loaded by a symmetrically placed square anchorage or bearing plate may be derived from the equation below as per IS 1343/2012. Okay. So that's so for the FBST bursting tensile force calculation, IS 1343/2012 code, they given the formula. So this is available in your code book. Please check your code book. So that means FBST divided by P naught, okay, equal to 0.32 minus 0.3 YP naught divided by Y naught. See, in some books they mentioned P naught equal to PK. So both are same, P naught and PK. Okay, so in problem I used PK. PK equal to P naught, all are same. In your code book they mentioned the P naught. Okay, so what is this? From this you can easily calculate this FBSD. Okay, so FBSD per bursting tensile force P naught. That means precessing force load on the tendons. Okay, it is nothing but precessing force only. Next, YP naught, side of loaded area. Side of loaded area is nothing but the height of the plate. That means depth of the anchorage plate. And Y naught is the side of the end block. Side of the end block is nothing but the depth of the beam. Okay, this is the simplest formula and also very much important formula in this fourth unit. Okay, so the force FBSD will be distributed in the region extending from 0.1 Y naught to Y naught. So what is this meaning? So I already told this Y naught is the depth of the beam. So during this depth of the beam in that horizontal direction from the extreme support, only the stresses is maximum. So we have to provide the bursting tension reinforcement from 0.1 Y naught to Y naught distance from the loaded face of the end block. Okay, the reinforcement provided to sustain the bursting tensile force may be assumed to be acting as design strength. That means 0.87 times the characteristic strength of reinforcement, except that the stresses should be limited to a value corresponding to strength 0.01 when the concrete cover to the reinforcement is less than 50 mm. Okay, so the reinforcement should be provided 0.1 Y naught to Y naught. Okay, so I will show in the diagram clearly. Based on the diagram, you can clearly understand. It can be observed that the increasing size of the bearing plate, the bursting force reduces. So obviously, if the size of the plate, you can see the first beam, second beam, and third beam. There are three beams are there. Okay, so three beams, nothing but both are same cross section, same beam only, but the plate size is different. You can see in first case, the plate size is smaller. Second case, it is around medium, and third case, it is very larger. Okay, so the increase in the size of the bearing plate. If bearing plate size increases, bursting forces decreases. Okay. The following sketch explains the relative size of the bearing plate with respect to the end zone. Okay, this is the end zone of the beam. Okay, end zone with the bearing size of the bearing plate. So in the above end views of end zone, the bursting force will be largest for case 1. Why it is largest? Because the plate size is very less, and it is least for case 3 because the plate size is more. If plate size is more, bursting force is less. If plate size is less, bursting force is more, indirectly proportional. Okay, so this is all about bursting force. Next, come to end zone reinforcement. Okay, the transfer reinforcement is provided in each principal direction based on the value of FBSD. This reinforcement is called end zone reinforcement or anchorage zone reinforcement. So end zone reinforcement as well as anchorage zone reinforcement, both are bursting links, all are same meaning only. The reinforcement is distributed within a length from point 1 Y0 to Y0 from an end of the member. Okay. So next, the amount of end zone reinforcement in which direction can be calculated from the following equation. So it is nothing but how to calculate area of steel for that end zone reinforcement. So AST is equal to bursting tensile force divided by the corresponding stress. That means 0.87 F5. So force divided by stress, which is equal to area. Okay, from this we have to choose the number of bars and the area of the bars, diameter of the bars also. The stress in the transverse reinforcement FS is limited to 0.87 F5. When the cover is less than 50 mm, Fs is limited to the value corresponding to a strain of 0.001. Okay, and this is not the typical end zone reinforcements. The end zone reinforcement is provided in several forms. Okay, there are a number of forms are there. These are all the 2 important forms which is generally used. Some of which are property of the construction forms. The forms are closed stirrups, mats. You can see here closed stirrups, mats or links with the loops. A few types of end zone reinforcement is shown in the figure. So either we can provide it as mat or we have to provide either links. Okay, it is depends upon the site condition and the amount of bursting force. And sometimes you can see in this picture, in that local zone is further strengthened by confining. Confining is nothing but spiral type of reinforcement. So this type of spirals type of reinforcement which resist more bursting tension. You can see in this figure. So these are all the spiral type of reinforcement. Okay. So this spiral type which is effectively reduce the bursting tension. Okay. The performance of this reinforcement is determined by testing end block specimen. The following photo shows the spiral reinforcement around the guide of the tendons. Okay, students. So I will stop here. Okay, I will stop here today's class. So the end zone may be made up of high strength concrete. So we have to use the end zone portion made up of high strength concrete only. That means M40 grade or M50 grade. Okay. The use are dispersed steel fibers in the concrete. So we can use particularly for that end portion, we have to use fiber reinforced concrete because fibers are highly resist tension. Fibers are highly resist tension. Okay, yeah, glass fiber, steel fiber, or anything, some other fiber, hybrid fiber, some fibers are there. So that type of fiber we can use means it will resist that more tensile stresses. Okay. So this fiber reinforced concrete reduces the cracking. Okay, cracking due to the bursting force. This is the one of the way. Proper compaction of concrete is required. So compaction is very much important. What do you mean by compaction? Elimination of air voids. Okay. So proper compaction of concrete is required at the end zone. Any honeycomb honeycomb of the concrete leads to settlement of the anchorage devices. If the concrete in the end zone is different from the rest of the member, then the end zone is cast separately. Okay, so sometimes the end zone is cast separately. Next, bearing plate. Okay, so bearing plate is nothing but the steel plate, anchorage plate. So high bearing stress is generated in the local zone behind the bearing plate. The bearing stress is calculated FBR. FBR is nothing but bearing stress. Is nothing but PK divided by area punching area, A PUN. Okay, so FBR is equal to PK divided by A PUN. So this is the formula. Okay. So as per class 19.6.2.1, IS 1343 code, the bearing stress in the local zone should be limited to the following allowable bearing stress. So FBR allowable is nothing but. So this is the bearing stress developed in the actually in that end zone. Okay, but allowable bearing stress is nothing but 0.8 FCI root of ABR divided by punching area, A PUN. That means this is the maximum permissible allowable bearing stress. Okay, it should not exceed or 0.8 FC. There are two formulas. For allowable condition, there are two formulas. One is this one. This is one. So don't worry, this formula is available in the code book. I will show you. This is 2. Okay, there are two formulas. One is 0.8 FCI root of ABR divided by APUN. Second one is 0.8 FCA. Okay, so FCA is nothing but the characteristic strength of concrete at transfer. Okay, during transfer. So whichever is smaller, that only we have to take for the allowable bearing stress. So where FCA is the cube strength or characteristic strength or compressive strength, whatever may be. Cube strength of concrete at the transfer. ABR is the bearing area. ABR is the bearing area, and APUN is the punching area. Okay, so these are all we will discuss in the problem. So APUN punching area or area of contact of bearing plate. ABR bearing area. FCA is cube strength at transfer. Okay, so now what is the difference between ABR and APUN? The expression of allowable bearing stress takes advantage of the dispersion of the bearing stress in the concrete. The following sketch illustrates the dispersion of bearing stress in concrete. So you can see here, this is the plate. Okay, I'm shading that portion. This is the plate. So this is called area of the plate is nothing but APUN. Okay, area of plate is nothing but APUN. And the effect of this punching is nothing but area of bearing. That means that yellow color. Okay, so in this diagram, they're clearly shown. This is the isometric view. Okay, 3D view. The effect of this that means punching area shown in the yellow color, and this is the front view. Okay, this is the cross-sectional view of the end block. Okay, you can see here, this is the breadth of the beam B, and this is the depth of the beam. Okay, of the pre-stressed beam. Okay, overall depth. So from this, the bearing plate is located at the center. So due to this effect of this bearing plate, that means area of punching, the punching stresses, that means bearing stresses is developed. Okay, that shown in the yellow color. Okay, just behind the plate. Okay, the effect of this punching shown in the yellow color, just behind the yellow color. Okay, shown in the yellow color. So this is the end and isometric views of the end zone. Okay, students, here you can see this is the actual picture of the end zone. Actually, according to scale, it is reduced, but this is the actual practical picture of the end zone reinforcement of the post tension member. You can see a duct is going, a pipe. Okay, this one. Okay, so a duct is going inside that beam. It is located at center, and you can see here from point 1 Y0 to so point 1 Y0 to Y0. This distance is 0.1 Y0 to Y0. Up to this distance, we are providing a closed stirrups. We are providing a closed stirrups. You can see the stirrup spacing. Okay, it is very, very closed and narrow. Okay, and beyond this Y0, also we have to provide the stirrups. That is, spacing is something more compared to this spacing. Okay, this spacing is less, this spacing is less, and this spacing is more. You can clearly see seen it from this picture. And also you can see closely see they provided a circular reinforcement, spiral type reinforcement, because spiral type reinforcement is highly efficient reinforcement to reduce the bursting tension. You can see here, these are all the reinforcement, circular shape. This one, and this one. So these are all the circular shape reinforcement and ended here. You can see this is the end portion. Okay. So these are all the circular shape reinforcement and also called spiral reinforcement, or also called, it is called confining reinforcement. Confining reinforcement. So these are all the end zone reinforcement of a post tension member. So we have to design this type of end zone reinforcement or anchorage reinforcement. Okay, students, is it clear? So now we will discuss IS 13434. Okay, after that we will see this problem. So please take the code book and take class 19.6.2 1.1. This is the code book class. Okay, so from this code book, we can easily understand the parameters consideration. Okay, so you can see here A point. These are all the things we already discussed. The factors affecting the transmission length. Okay, on which factor this transmission length depends. That they clearly mentioned in this A. Okay, point A. The transmission length depends on a number of variables. The most important being the strength of concrete at transfer, the size and type of tendon, the surface deformation of the tendon. Transmission length of the tendon toward the top of a unit is usually greater than at the bottom. Okay, and they given the approximate transmission length of the member depends upon the wires or tendons. Okay, so these are the details given in this portion. And then next, you can see here end zone reinforcement details. So just now we discussed bearing stress. So here you can see they given the formula. On the areas, I will read, please follow A point. On the areas immediately behind external anchorages, the permissible unit bearing stress on the concrete after accounting for losses due to relaxation of steel, elastic shortening and seating of anchorages shall not exceed. So this is your permissible bearing stress. 0.8 FCA into root of ABR divided by APUN. Okay, or 0.8 FCK. Actually, they mentioned FCK. It is wrong. Actually, it is FCI. please correct it. 0.8 FCI, whichever is smaller. Okay, so where FCI is the cube strength at transfer and the ABR is the bearing area, and the APN is the punching area. So all the formulas is available, okay, for fourth unit in the code book. So you can easily get more score in the fourth unit. Okay, next, during tensioning, the allowable bearing stress specified in A may be increased by 25%, provided that this temporary value not exceed FCA. Okay. Next, the effective dispersion, that C point is very much important. The effective punching area shall generally be the contact area of the anchorage devices, which is of circular in shape, shall be replaced by a square of equivalent area. The bearing area shall be maximum area of the portion of the member which is geometrically similar and concentric to the effective punching area. See, actually the effective punching area shall be generally be contact area of the anchorage device. See, even though the anchorage devices are in circular shape, we don't use circular shape plate, bearing plate. So always we are using a square shape or rectangular shape plate. Okay. So these are the major things we must know. And next come to bursting tensile forces. So for we know the as per IS code method bursting tensile force formula, that formula also they given. Okay. The bursting tensile force in the end blocks or region of bonded post tension member should be assessed on the basis of the tendon's jacking load. For unbonded members, the bursting tensile forces should be assessed on the basis of the tendon jacking load or the load in the tendon at the limit state of collapse, which is given, which is greater. The bursting tensile force FBSD existing on the individual square end block loaded by a symmetrically placed square anchorage or bearing plate may be derived from the equation below. So this formula we already know. So FBSD divided by P naught equal to 0.32 minus 0.3 Y P naught divided by Y naught. So this P naught goes to this side means we easily calculated the FBSD for value. Okay. So you can read this question. This B point is very much important. The force FBSD will be distributed in a region extending 0.1 Y0 to Y0 from the loaded face of the end block. Students, so please be remember the 0.1 Y0. Y0 is nothing but the depth of the member, depth of the beam. So 0.1 Y0 to Y0. This distance is highly vulnerable because bursting tension force is maximum in this portion. So we have to provide more stirrups with the close spacing and spiral reinforcement in this portion only. Okay. So the reinforcement provided to sustain the bursting tensile force may be assumed to be acting at its design strength, 0.87 times of characteristic strength of reinforcement, except that the stress should be limited to a value corresponding to a strain of 0.001 when the concrete cover to the reinforcement is less than 50 mm. Okay. So the concrete cover should be, we have to maintain 50 mm. Okay. So we have bursting tensile force formula and we have allowable bearing stress formula and transmission length, everything, transmission length formula, everything. So this is enough for your fourth unit problem. Okay, so no need to remember any formulas, already available in your IS 1343 code book. Okay, students. So now we will see the problem. So how to use these formulas, how to solve this problem. Okay, so please read the question. Okay, students, now we will see that question. So please be remember, this problem is very, very important. Once you understand this problem, this only one problem, you can solve any problem in fourth unit. Okay, so this problem is very, very important. Please be remember. So design a bearing plate and the end zone reinforcement for the following bonded post-tension mean. So students, here we have to do two things. First one is we have to design the cross section of the plate. Second thing, we have to design the end zone or anchorage zone reinforcement. Okay, design the bearing plate and the end zone reinforcement for the following bonded post tension. Actually, 2 times it is pasted. So a pre-stressing force of 1055 kilonewton. So the amount of pre-stressing force is 1055 kilonewton is applied by a single tendon. There is no eccentricity of the tendon at the ends. Okay, so we already know the cross section of the post tension members always I section, because I section is your most economical section. Okay, but at the end of the beam, it should be a rectangle. So you can see here, this is a section at middle of the beam. But here you can see here section at the end of the beam. End zone means at the support. So at support, it is a rectangle. You can see I section. Even I section also they mention in dotted line. But dotted line indicates what? Okay, that means beyond that end zone. Okay, so at middle they didn't mention dotted line because it is perfectly I section. But same I section, whenever it goes to at the end of the beam, it is not I section, it is a rectangular section. Okay, so this is the problem they given. So let us see. First, draw the diagram. Actually, diagram everything they given, so don't worry. So based on this, we have to design. So next, let the bearing plate. So initially, you have to assume the bearing plate size. So now, what is the size of the beam? So now you forgot about this middle section, I section. Okay, so we don't want I section. So we need only rectangular section because we have to do design for rectangular section only. Okay, now tell me what is the size of the beam? 400 into 600. 400 into 600. So in same way, you reduce the size of the plate. 200 into 300. So 400 with 600, I taken half of that. So 400 divided by 2, 200, and 600 divided by 2, 300. Okay, this is the bearing plate size. So initially we have to assume the bearing plate size and we have to check the stress, whether it is safe or not. Okay, so the bearing stress is calculated below. So FBR, so we already know the actual bearing stress due to this size of the plate. First we have to calculate. So PK is nothing but what? This is the amount of pre-stressing force applied. So 1055 into 10 power 3. I converted into Newton. Divided by 200 into 300. Okay. So just apply load by area. Find out the stress. Load by area. Load here, load is nothing but pre-stressing force, PK. And area is nothing but area of the plate. Okay. So we got 17.5 Newton per mm square. Next, the allowable bearing stress is calculated. So we have to calculate the allowable bearing stress. It is 0.48 FCI root of ABR divided by APUN. Okay, so 0.48 FCI. FCI is 50. That means compressive strength at the transfer. Definitely they will give in the question. Root of ABR. ABR is nothing but size of the beam. That means punching area, bearing area. Bearing area is nothing but size of the beam, 400 into 600. Okay. So, and punching area is nothing but the size of the plate. So this we already discussed before that. Okay, what is in by ABR? What is in by area of punching? Okay, so punching area is nothing but size of the plate. The plate also we assumed 200 into 300, and student, let us continue. So first we calculated the what is the actual bearing stress produced due to this plate. This is the first point. Okay, so that we calculated FBR equal to PK divided by A PUN. This is the actual force, precessing force divided by our assumed size of the plate. So we got 17.5 Newton per mm square. This is the actual stress, but we have to calculate the allowable bearing. What is the maximum limit, permissible limit? So FBR is equal to 0.8 FCA into ABR divided by APUN. So substitute all the values. We got 48 Newton per mm square. So this FCA value also definitely they will give in the question. ABR 400 into 600. This is the size of the rectangular beam, and APUN is the size of the plate. Okay, so we got 48 Newton per mm square, but we got actually we got only 17.5, very less. Okay, so up to 48 is allowable, and also limit of FBR allowable 0.8 FCI. So 0.8 into 50, we got 40 Newton per mm square. So this also wrong. So this is the maximum allowable limit. So whichever is smaller. So in the code book, we seen this formula and this formula, 0.8 FCA. So from this two formula, whichever is lower is the allowable bearing stress. So in our case, using this formula, we got 48. Using this formula, we got 40. So whichever is lower, 40 only. So the allowable bearing stress is 40. Okay. So therefore, our allowable bearing stress, that means our bearing stress is 17.5, but allowable bearing stress is 40. So it is safe. Okay. So it should be less than the FBR allowable. Okay. So this FBR should be less than the FBR allowable. So keep it in your mind. So this is the second point. So now coming to third point. So how to calculate bursting force? So this bursting tensile force we calculated as per the formula. Okay. So here there are two directions is there. The beam is not a square beam. It is a rectangular beam. 400 into 600. So we need to calculate bursting force in vertical direction as well as horizontal direction. Okay, so we have to design which one is maximum. Okay, which value we got maximum. For that maximum value only we have to design. So next, let us check in the vertical direction. So PK FBSD equal to PK into 0.32 minus 0.3 YP0 divided by Y0. So substitute PK is equal to 1055 and YP0. YP0 we know is the depth of the plate. YP0 is P. So how to remember, sir? You can see P. P means plate. Okay, in the formula P is there, so plate. YP0 is the depth of the plate and Y0 is the depth of the beam. So 300 divided by 600. So we got 179.3 kilonewton. Next, in the horizontal direction. So in horizontal direction, same substitute PK 1055 and YP0. YP0 here, horizontal direction is nothing but width of the beam. Width of the beam. So vertical direction is nothing but we have to consider depth of the beam, and in horizontal direction we have to consider breadth or width of the beam. So what is the width of the plate? 200. What is the width of the beam? 400. So same answer we got. So we have to design the bursting force for this value. Bursting reinforcement for this value. Okay, let us see how to design. So, how to calculate area of steel? Calculation of end zone reinforcement. So, ASD is equal to FBSD divided by 0.87 F5. This formula also we know. So, FBSD 179.3 into 10 power 3 kilonewton. Sorry, 10 power 3 Newton. So, previously we got in kilonewton, converted into Newton. So, divided by 0.87 into F5. F5 is nothing but the mild steel bars. So, either you can, if in the question, if they mentioned mild steel means you have to use 250. If they mention Fe 4 and 5 means you have to use 0.87 into 4 and 5. Okay. So, we got the area of steel for the end zone reinforcement is 824.6 mm square. Approximately it is 825 mm square. Okay. So, how to provide this reinforcement? So, we already know this from point Y0. Okay, point Y0 to Y0. Point Y0 to Y0 is the maximum bursting tensile force acting portion. So, here I segregated 0.1 Y0 to 0.5 Y0 is the maximum vulnerable portion. Okay. So, for that, I provided 2/3 of reinforcement. So, from this 825 multiplied by 2/3, we got 550 mm square. So, we have to provide this 550 mm square within 0.1 Y0. That means, what is the depth of the beam? 600 mm. So, what is the 0.1 Y0? 60 mm. So, from 60 mm and 0.5 Y0 is 300 mm from the end. So, the distance between 0.1 Y0 to 0.5 Y0, I am providing more reinforcement with the closed stirrups, and select 6 numbers of 2-legged 8 mm dia stirrups for this to 550 mm square. Okay. So next, provide 1/3 of AST. So 2/3 we already provided. 550 mm square we already provided. So 825 minus 550 how much? 275. That is called 1/3 of AST. We have to provide from 0.5 Y0 to Y0. So why we are providing less reinforcement, less area of steel here means that is it is beyond that 0.5 Y0, beyond that 0.5. So whenever from the end of the beam, whenever it will go towards middle, the bursting tensile force get reduced. Okay, so accordingly we are reducing the reinforcement also. Okay, so the bursting tensile force is maximum between 0.1 Y0 to 0.5 Y0. That is extreme condition. Beyond that also bursting tensile force is acting, but not in extreme condition. Okay, very low only bursting tensile force is acting. So from this 0.5 Y0 300 mm and Y0 600 mm. So you can see Y0 equal to 600 mm. That means depth of the beam. So we have to provide this 275 mm square. Okay. So for that, I am using 5 numbers of 2-legged 6 mm dia bars. Okay. So from 0.1 Y0 to 0.5 Y0, I am providing 8 mm dia bars, and 0.5 Y0 to Y0, I am providing 6 mm dia bars. So this is the final reinforcement diagram. You can see this is the plate diagram. So at the end of the beam, I am providing from the middle concentric plate 200 mm by 300 mm plate. This is one diagram. And this is the reinforcement diagram. You can see this is the cross section and this is the longitudinal section. So this is your 0.1 Y0 to 0.5 Y0. Okay. So up to this portion, you can see the stirrup spacings are closed. So 6 numbers of 8 mm dia stirrups. We have to place from 60 mm to 300 mm from the end of the beam. So this distance is 60 mm. 60 mm. So within this 60 mm, there is reinforcement is not required. Beyond this 60 mm to 300 mm, we need reinforcement. So for that, 6 numbers of 8 mm dia strips. So beyond the 300 mm to beyond 300 mm and up to 600 mm, that means Y naught value, we have to provide 5 numbers of 6 mm dia strips. 5 numbers of 6 mm dia strips. So you can use 8 mm also. You can use 8 mm also, but the reinforcement numbers will be reduced. Say here we used 5 numbers of 6 mm. Suppose if you use 8 mm means it will be reduced to 3 numbers. That is the difference. Okay, students. So this is the end zone reinforcement. Any doubts? So problem is over. Students, so morning we seen IS code method. Now Magnal method. So Magnal is a scientist. Okay, scientist. They found this type method to provide to design anchorage zone. Okay, so in this method, the end block is considered as a D beam. Okay, end block is considered as a D beam subjected to D beam is nothing but the depth is huge. Okay, depth is huge. They assumed the depth of the beam is huge, and also this method applicable for the depth of the beam having more than 2 times of the width. Okay, suppose if you consider this H is more than 2 times of this beam. Okay, under this condition, this method is used. Okay, subjected to concentrated loads due to anchorages on one side and to normal and tangential distributed loads from other linear direct stress and shear stress distribution from the other side. Okay, the force acting on the end block and the stresses acting on any point on the horizontal axis parallel to the beam are shown in figure. So you can see here, this is the typical beam having B breadth of the beam and H is the height of the beam, and the shaded portion is the plate. Okay, so the precessing is applied, the anchorage is placed in this portion and applied in this portion. So the stress distribution is 45 degree. Okay, the stress distribution is 45 degree, and the corresponding direct stress diagram, stress distribution diagram of the end block, this one. Okay, so now let us consider M is the bending moment, H is the direct force, and V is the shear force horizontal direction, and FV vertical stress, FH direct stress, and tau is equal to shear stress. So now stress distribution across the section can be approximated by the following equation. So how much stress is produced? That means vertical stress, horizontal stress, and shear stress. So we have to use this formula, K1 into M divided by BH square plus K2 into H divided by BH, and tau is nothing but shear stress equal to K3 into V divided by BH, and direct stress FH equal to P divided by BH into 1 plus 12 E dash square divided by H square. Okay, so what is this K1, K2 and K3? So these are all the constant value. Okay, it depends upon the ratio of X by H. Okay, X by H. X is the distance. Okay, from the end of the beam, at which point we need stress. That point is X, and H is the height of the beam. Okay, so based on this ratio, X by H ratio, we can easily calculate K1, K2, and K3 values, and the corresponding bursting tension. Okay, corresponding bursting tension value we can calculate from this distribution of principal tensile stress on the required axis, and suitable reinforcements are designed to take up this tension. Okay, so you can see here in this problem, a 100 mm by 200 mm depth beam is there. This is the plate. So FH is the force acting on the plate. That means 100 kilonewton divided by size of the plate. Okay, so we got horizontal stress H, FH equal to 5 Newton per mm square. Okay, so next FE we can calculate based on the X by H ratio. Okay, X by H ratio. From this, using table, we can easily calculate K1, K2 and K3. Okay, so then calculation of M, B and FE. So these are all as per the formula we seen. So therefore, the total splitting tension, assuming parabolic distribution of the stress shown in figure. Okay, actually the stress distribution of the bursting tension, this is it is like a parabolic shape. Okay, the height of the bursting tension value is 2.35 Newton per mm square. Here square is missing. 2.35 Newton per mm square. We can calculate using this formula. Okay, so from this the tension force FBSD, we have the formula 2 by 3 into the distance x into this 2.35 into 100. 100 is converting, sorry, 100 is the formula. Okay, 2 by 3 into x into F minimum. F minimum is the stress, 2.35 Newton per mm square into 100. So finally we got FBST is equal to 23500 Newton. Okay, so from this you can easily find out the FBST. So then how to calculate reinforcement AST? So FBST divided by 0.87 F5. FBST divided by 0.87 F5. Okay, so from this you can easily calculate the area of steel. So actually this problem is not important, students, just for knowing purpose only I am telling, but the theory and this diagram is very much important. Okay, so this theory, Magnell method theory and this diagram is very much important. Okay, next come to Goyen's theorem. Next we will see Goyen's method. Okay, you can see Goyen's method. So in this Goyen's method, Goyen's has developed design tables. So here also we have to use tables for the computation of bursting tension in end blocks, which are based on his earlier mathematical investigation concerning the distribution of stresses in end blocks subjected to concentrated flows. So here we have to analyze the beam into two categories. One is forces evenly distributed. Second one is forces evenly not distributed. Okay, forces evenly not distributed. So mostly why this method is useful means, normally during post tensioning we can't do all the cables at a time. Okay, we can't do tension. We are not giving tension force at a time. So we are giving one by one only. Suppose there are 10 cables are there means we are applying tension force by through anchorage devices by one only, not all. Okay, so for smaller, suppose only one cable or only two cable, three cables is there means we have to do at a time. Suppose 10 cables, 12, 15 cables means we can't do at a time. Okay, so for this we have to analyze by forces evenly distributed and forces is not evenly distributed. Okay, so this is the formula. FBST is equal to 0.3 into P 1 minus YP naught divided by Y naught power 0.58. This is the formula for bursting tensile force. And these are the corresponding tables. So P is the anchorage force, it's nothing but precessing force, and YP naught divided by Y naught is the distribution ratio. Okay, so this is the Goyen's method. Next come to, so you can see here in this simple formula. So P 100 kilonewton and plate size is 50 mm, beam depth is 200 mm. So you can, apply simply 0.3 P into 1 minus Y P naught and Y naught. Okay, so Y P naught is 50 and Y naught is 200. Just simply apply, and P value is 100 kilonewton. So 100 into 10 power 3. So we can easily get the bursting tension. Okay, you can see here, easily get the bursting tension. Okay, so from this area of steel, this bursting tension force, this force divided by 0.87 into F5, we get the area of steel. From the area of steel, you can provide the reinforcement. Okay, so next come to Zingich's and Rowe's method. So in this method, this is also a very simplest method. So experimental investigation on concrete prismatic specimens were conducted by Zingich's and Rowe's using the technique of surface strain measurement. The concrete prisms, so prisms is nothing but like a small beams. Okay, the concrete prisms simulated, the end blocks under the parameter investigated include the ratio of loaded to cross-sectional area, the cable depth or hole, the type of anchorages under the cracking, and the ultimate load. The studies revealed that the distribution of transverse stress and ultimate load of the end block is not significantly affected by the anchorage being either embedded or external, the material of the anchorage, and the method of anchoring wires. Okay, so what they're discussing is, so there's an anchorage method or anchorage material. Okay, it's not affecting for the stresses, okay, produced in the anchorage zone. Okay, so the empirical relation have been developed by Zingich's and Rowe, compute the maximum transfer tensile stress and bursting tension. So you can see here, in this diagram, so the maximum tensile stress at between 0.3 Y naught to 2 Y naught, 0.3 Y naught to 2 Y naught. Okay, so in this portion only it is maximum. So the corresponding tensile stress formula equal to Fc into 0.98 into 0.825 into Y P naught divided by Y naught. Okay, next the bursting tension formula FBST is equal to Pk into 0.48 into minus 0.4 Y P naught divided by Y naught. Okay, so every method having different bursting tensile force formula. Okay, bursting tensile force formula. So if allowance is made for tension taken by concrete, the corrected value of the bursting tension is given by FBST corrected equal to FBST minus FT divided by FE max the whole square. So what is this? See, some of the tension force, concrete also having taken some tensile force. Okay, so this formula applicable for, we are assuming that concrete is not taking tensile force, but this formula we assumed concrete is taking some tensile force. Okay, so mostly we have to use this formula only. FBST equal to Pk into 0.48 minus 0.4 into Yp naught divided by Y naught. Okay, next, how to provide the reinforcement? The reinforcement required to resist the bursting tension is to be arranged between 0.2 Y naught to 2 Y naught. So this is very, very important. So as in diagram, you can see in diagram what we are seeing. So the bursting tension is maximum 0.3 Y naught to 0.2 Y naught. Sorry, 0.3 Y naught to 2 Y naught. Okay, so up to this we have to provide. So here you can see, instead of 0.3 Y naught, they are giving more spacing for safety purpose. That means 0.2 Y naught to 2 Y naught. So up to this portion, we have to provide the bursting tension reinforcement. Okay, so this is the formulas. So now we can see a simple problem. So same problem. So PK, that means precessing force is given and size of the plate is given 50 mm and size of the beam is given. Depth of the beam is 100 mm. Okay. So what is the formula for calculating FE? FE is FC into 0.98 minus 0.825 into YP0 divided by Y0. So FC is the compressive stress, load divided by area. Load divided by area. Since it is a square prism, so 100 into 100. Load is 100 kilonewton. Okay, so 100 into 10 power 3 divided by size. Since it is a square, so 100 into 100. So FC is equal to 10 Newton per mm square. So substitute FC is equal to 10 and into 0.98 minus 0.825 into YP0. What is YP0? YP0 is 50. Okay, and Y0 is 100. So the ratio is 0.5. So we got 5.68 Newton per mm square. Okay, so acting at a distance equal to 0.5 into 50, that is 25 from the end face. Bursting tension. So what is the bursting tension formula? So just now we seen. Okay, you can see here PK into, here you can see this is the formula for bursting tension. So PK into 0.48 minus 0.4 into YP0 divided by Y0. This is the formula. So substitute all the values. What is PK? You can see here PK is 100 into 10 power 3 Newton and into 0.48 minus 0.4 YP0 into Y0 divided by Y0. So we got minus 0.4 into 0.5. So 28,000 Newton is the bursting tensile force. Okay. Suppose if the permissible tensile stress is assumed by 2 Newton per mm square, the corrected value you have to do accordingly as seen before in the problem. FBST into 1 minus FE divided by permissible tensile stress FC in whole square. Okay, so previously we seen this problem. Okay, FT divided by FE divided by FE max the whole square. So FT is the tensile stress, permissible tensile stress. It is 2 Newton per mm square. Okay, and FE is 5. FE max is 5.68 the whole square, which is equal to 24,500 Newton. Okay, so this is the problem. So next problem, the end block of a pre-stressed beam 200 mm wide and 300 mm deep has two Frasnet anchorages 100 mm diameter with the centers at 75 mm from the top and bottom of the beam. The force transmitted by each anchorage being 200 kilonewton. Estimate the maximum tensile stress under the bursting tension developed. Okay, so now you can see here what is the anchorage diameter given? 100 mm. Okay, so if anchorage diameter is given means they didn't give the size of the plate. So how to calculate size of the plate? So anchorage diameter is nothing but it's a circular section. So first to calculate the area. So what is the area? Pi by 4 into d square. So from this area you can take root means we can get a square plate of size 89 mm. Okay, so whichever area you can take root means what happened? We can get the side of the square. So it is 89 mm. It is YP0. YP0 is nothing but the plate depth. Y0 is nothing but the beam depth. Okay, so now calculate the ratio. So YP0 divided by Y0, it is nothing but 0.593. Okay, 0.593. So calculate FC. FC value, load by area. What is load? 200 into 10 power 3. Area is 150 into 150. Now tensile stress FE max is equal to, we know the formula already. We know the formula. What is the formula? FE is equal to FC into 0.98 minus 0.825 YP0 divided by Y0. So substitute the formula, we can get the FE max, that is 4.45 Newton per mm square. Next, FBST. What is FBST formula? So you can see here Pk into 0.48 minus 0.4 into Yp0 divided by Y0. So substitute that value. So Pk is 200. Pk is nothing but the precessing force. It is given in the question. Okay. 200 into 10 power 3 into 0.48 minus 0.4 into that ratio 0.593. Okay. So that is the bursting tensile force. It is 50,000 Newton. 50,000 Newton is nothing but 50 kilonewton. So here you can see how this 150 came. Okay, so they clearly mention the cables are located 75 mm from top and bottom of the beam. Okay, so from the middle 75 mm from top and bottom of the beam. So they indirectly given this Y0. Okay, so 75 plus 75 how much? 150 mm. So therefore 89 divided by 150, we got the 0.593. 89 divided by 150, we got 0.593. Okay, so this is the problem. Okay, students. So up to this, we calculated, we finished the problem. And in this unit 4, we discussed transmission of pre-stress in pre-tension, transmission of pre-stress in pre-tension and post-tension members, and IS code method for calculation and design of the anchorage zone reinforcement, and Magnal method, Gans method, and Zingbis and Rose method. Okay, British method and all not that. Okay, British method also is there. It is not in the syllabus. Okay, so these three methods, except mostly 99%, not 99, 100%, they asking problems. Okay, morning we seen one problem, na, it is 100% sure, guaranteedly that problem will come from IS code method. You have to solve from IS code method, and you study the theory portion of this Magnal, Gans, and Zingbis and Rose method, and just see the formulas. Okay, FBST formulas is enough. Okay, so after this, fourth unit is over. Okay, students, any doubts? We successfully completed the fourth unit. So next class onwards, we will go for fifth unit. So fourth unit is very, very simple only. So I sent one handwritten notes also.